Faker against Caps MSI Semifinals 2019 Game 5, the deciding game who advances to the final. I'm ranked 20 EU and I will be explaining everything Faker and Caps are doing to win the game, as long of course as I can understand it and skipping over the useless part. So in the beginning you always want to think about your matchup, but this gets a little awkward, but that's fine. The laning is already starting. So we have the LeBlanc against Lissandra matchup. Now it is believed that Lissandra does win and is pretty annoying for LeBlanc, but LeBlanc can definitely play it out. Goes for, but that was very awkward trade. Both mid laners cancelled their last auto attacks, and you can already feel the excitement and the nervousness both players are feeling, because this is the last game of a very long series and with super high stakes. So Faker goes for a bit of trade. Really awkward. They're just trading auto attacks like that, but thanks to the electrocute, Faker comes on top. So he doesn't go for cleanse against Alessandra. That's pretty cocky, I would say. It's definitely better on 1v1, but the amount of lockdown he is going to receive is pretty substantial, and let's see how Faker is going to play around that. So right now he has the mid lane priority, which is, well, he has the push, but it's not that great of a push, because if you are a LeBlanc, you either want the full priority most of the time, or you want the wave. You want to freeze the wave yourself because you want to set up ganks if you're jungler and roam, and you can't do that if enemy is freezing. But now Caps is actually pushing this. He's using his W, and Faker could have went for a trade if he anticipated, but he didn't. I really feel the tension in the air for both mid laners at the moment. So look right here what Faker is doing. He's setting up a gank with Clit, but Caps gets out untouched. But there's some interesting things that happened that I really want to explain to you. So first things first, right? Here the minion wave is already bouncing. That means that it is pushing and he can freeze. He times this and synchronizes coordinates with his jungler to come at the right time when Caps has to expose himself for a gank. So this is definitely communicated between Faker and Clit. Now you see that Caps has to go pretty deep here, and another thing you notice is that, let me pause once he shows. So usually I always explain you play close to your jungler, so that would be here, right, if you're Faker, because Clit is here, and away from the enemy jungler because they can approach you from there and it's much easier to get ganked in that sense. But now, because they either know where the jungler is because they have the Poro vision here, they also know they are probably stronger in 2v2, and Faker is not really afraid of a gank. He is actually positioning to this side of the map. And now, why is he doing that? Well, it's pretty much because if he controls this area, naturally the other mid laner will probably want to play to the other side, right? Because if you're here, for example, you're an Ahri, you can reach with your charm here, or if you're the LeBlanc, you can reach with your charm and chains here. But if Caps is standing to the other side, if he would be here, it's a bit harder. So why would Faker do that? That is exactly why, because he's trying with his positioning to drive Caps actually to hug the other side. Why? Because that's where Clit is waiting to gank, and if he forces Caps to go closer to Clit, it makes the gank much easier. So that's one of the tactics you can use, and works especially more in lower elos, guaranteed. So Caps doesn't take that, but definitely takes the chain, and just the aftershock saves Caps here. So it is still quite a good gank, because now they are denying the CS from Caps about half of a minion wave. Faker can also opt for a freeze here, and it's very dangerous for Caps to TP on the minion here because Clit could always regank. That's why he is TPing safely. And now you, as Lissandra, just put wards first, communicate with your jungler maybe for a counter gank before you dare to even extend this far. So right now, Caps really wants to push this entire wave so it bounces because this position is not safe for him. Now he gets the bounce off, and he takes even a fairly bad trade. For that, he needs to push one more minion wave. And as you can see, Lissandra just has more wave clear. The aftershock is pretty annoying and so much lockdown for LeBlanc to deal with. So that's why it is a good counter against LeBlanc. It neutralizes her, destroys her in team fights, things like that. So let's fast forward. There's not much happening at this moment. Faker is just recalling and utilizing his time to check on the map. Caps is going to be able to get the priority, and here he gets boots really early because he definitely wants to rush Merc threats so he can lower the amount of CC Lissandra has onto him. Gets all the minions on our tower, one hit on the casters, then one hit from the tower, followed by another hit from Faker, makes sure that he gets all of them. Now has a little time to go ward, W's over, gets a bit of vision, procs the Scry's Bloom, and now they know that the enemy jungler is not in the top side jungle, so he's probably in the bot side jungle. You saw that Mata procced his plant as well, and now he doesn't know where Caps actually is. He decides to fast push this minion wave, and let's see what he is going to do with his priority. So Clit is in river. This wave right now is slightly slow pushing. Faker has level advantage, doesn't decide to use his ultimate. He's probably saving it for a roam now. So I expect him to go to Fog, see what he goes next. Actually doesn't, decides to flex on Caps under tower. Oh, that's really useless, so pretty strange. Maybe he's just baiting Caps to go in. That's why Clit was behind for a counter gank. But usually what you would see mid laners do in this situation, if you know you can poke out your enemy under the tower, you just go into Fog of War. So here they see Rek'Sai on the ward and the Pike as well. Down on the roam, Faker respects it and avoids a gank successfully. So well played from in this situation. Rek'Sai is spotted in the river. Faker goes for a little bit of a crazy trade, and they also see Cannon TPing from behind. Pike gets the first move, sadly, but Caps goes down. Mata has to disengage. Pretty okay flash from Khan, but I don't think he would be able to get anything as Faker was out of mana. Cannon doesn't have enough damage to burst the entire enemy team down, and he could have gone down himself if Wunder hit his hook. So here he knows that Wunder has no cooldowns. He just uses everything to push out the wave. Whenever you base, optimally, you want to push the whole minion wave under enemy tower, so you lose the least amount of CS while you are roaming or bagging. So as you can see, he still comes back to lane with all the minions to farm all 6 of them. He didn't lose a single thing here. That's because he pushed the entire minion wave under the enemy tower, resulting in a bounce. Gets the vision, and this is the reason why you want to, so let's rewind a little bit. Why you usually see, and now I see a lot of mistakes myself from both mid laners that they usually wouldn't do, and I really think that's because they are nervous and it's game 5. So if you are Caps, right, you want to put the pink ward here, not here. Why? Well, because it gives the same vision, completely same vision, but it is much harder for the enemy to approach. So you see that Faker can freely hit this ward without any issues whatsoever, but if the ward was here, it is much harder for him to approach and much easier for Caps to defend. So that's why this ward placement is suboptimal. So let's fast forward again. Hopefully your guys' head doesn't explode. Caps gets the priority, goes into Fog, goes for a roam in the bot lane successfully, and Braum is dead. So Bad play from SKT. They should have known that Caps is going there, not respecting it. They go down, and Faker is trying to recoup his losses and roam into Wunder's lane. Since he just pushed outer tower, he could have decided to maybe get one tower plate, but the roam was more valuable for Faker in his eyes than to get himself ahead. He wants to put Wunder a little behind. He still has a lot of time because doesn't see Caps walking into lane. Now he does. Takes the plant on his way, moves back into his lane. Caps will be able to get priority again. You see that the whole SKT squad is actually coming to mid lane, but Lissandra, not the easiest champion to gank. Caps disrespects here a little bit, eats a ton of damage, but it doesn't matter that much because he will be able to go for a base. Mata goes in to proc the relic shield with Faker, and it's all good. Caps took a bad trade, but it's not that big of a deal since first he has TP, and second, it's just after he pushed a whole minion wave under Faker's tower, and as we said millions of times, that means that he can roam or base pretty much without losing anything. Caps again gets priority, goes into fog, puts pressure into the bot lane. See what's happening. So right now, Faker is going to pick up his blue buff. That means that if Caps doesn't get his own, he should be able to get easy mid lane priority with the mana sustain and cooldown reduction of the blue buff. W's the wave, beautiful farming from Faker, pings that, and you see that it's bleeding. The fact that Faker is losing priority in the mid lane is bleeding into the bot lane, and the bot lane has to sacrifice a plate or two, dragon, and a lot of minions. Caps goes for a really fast play here, knowing that Faker doesn't have the cleanse. If he had cleanse, he survives, but because he doesn't, Caps just goes for the instant flash into R. Nothing Faker could have done besides respecting the pike roam and standing under his tower. So mistake on Faker's part, 100%. Gets caught out. The wave is all dead, so he doesn't even decide to TP in. Because he's first in the lane, right now he will be able to get the mid lane priority. So let's see what he is going to decide, how he will pressure the map. Decides to go into top lane. I believe that SKT are feeling the pressure from the pike. It's annoying them and they want to shut it down. Bot lane is also losing, so bot lane just decides to say, fuck it, the tower is lost anyways, we will rotate and at least get some objective to herald, so G2 are not able to get it. Faker goes for a bit of poke on the Galio, but you know, pretty tanky against a LeBlanc with only one, not even one item, and with Merc threats. G2 decide to hit the mid lane tower with get one plate and then reset with the Rift Herald. So overall, a good trade for G2, but SKT did the right play because they would not be able to escape. Faker doesn't respect again, just gets one shot by the CC. Caps actually trolls here really hard, but the fact is, you know, it's 1-for-1. You might be thinking, good trade, but not really, because you almost lost your mid lane tower. So in terms of objective, it was a disaster. And Wunder gets another kill on Clid. Moving fast forward, Faker is probably going to go to bot lane, to the side lane to farm, since Cannon is already in the mid lane. Or do they actually swap around? No, Faker goes into the bot lane. And at this point, Pyke is really fed, about to snowball out of control. So not a good feeling for SKT. But remember, SKT do definitely outscale because they have an AD carry and they're playing against almost full AP team composition in the enemy team. With the Pyke there, of course, and Rek'Sai, but overall, it's very hard to deal with Braum Varus in the late game for G2 comp. So scaling is definitely on their side, but the game is not in their favor in this moment. So right now he's getting shadowed or hovered by Clid, just to ensure that if there's a 2v2 in the bot lane, everyone that he can respond. But because of the Galio ultimate, and because of the fact that Rek'Sai also plays around Wunder, they are not able to get the priority here. So G2 is getting the priority over the entire area. Right now Faker is playing extremely respectful, because you know, he wasn't before and he paid the price 2 times already. Now there's a fight in the mid lane. He instantly TPs to the fight, tries to go for perks here, is very patient with his chains to see first. You don't always have to fire skill shots as soon as you can. You just wait and wait and wait, see how they move, and then E at the right time. Beautiful chain by Faker, but they are not able to catch onto Caps yet. Wunder is coming over the wall. Nothing happening here again, and all this was happening when the bot lane minion wave was bad for G2, and they just started losing. So again, small loss for SKT, and right now it doesn't look big, but remember, big leads are built upon small leads. So again, let's continue. Remember that LeBlanc that is not snowballing is not a very useful champion, especially if she's also behind in farm and experience. Now she doesn't have to be behind experience over enemies, it's just over the curve. And now remember, at 20 minutes you should be able to be level 14, okay? But definitely I see him way too often having to be defensive, having to play with less vision than the enemy team, and just being reactive instead of making insane plays, minus the Gnar flash ulti that he did before. So right now SKT are sacrificing a top lane farm to do pretty much nothing, and yeah, they just sacrificed the top lane tower for no real reason. It's looking really strange at this moment. Now Perks knows almost gets one shot by the Syndra. If he didn't have Mercs, he would actually potentially go down. Now again, he has to base. Maybe he will stay, pick up one minion wave, but I don't think so. Gets his recall actually cancelled by Perks, and you see how much pressure he's feeling at this moment. So let's fast forward. Again, and this kind of feels bad because all I'm doing is just going back, seeing Faker recall every single minute, getting completely dumpstered by even the enemy mid laner that got auto-filled into AD carry. But you know, life's life. Last time these teams met at MSI, it was Faker having the upper hand. So, not this time. Again, just defensive, really doing nothing, waiting for the enemy team to make a big mistake. But that's not the best strategy you can have in this meta. And also it's very much Faker's fault because he didn't go cleanse, and it did cost him his life 2 times, which bled into bot lane, and that's why the whole team is losing. So I think Faker has a huge responsibility here. Gets the minion wave. I don't think he will push more. Actually, this is still close to him, so he will push this one, but not the next one because they have no vision. It's pretty far away, unless he is going to see all the G2 members. Now, one good thing about this game, at least some saving grace, is that the enemy team doesn't have a mountain dragon, and they also don't have an AD carry. So their Baron taking potential is not very high, so they can stall for quite a long time, as long as they don't get caught in fog of war or something like that. So SKT using the top lane priority to move into mid lane. Let's see what's going to happen now. Faker again in fog of war to cover his team. Maybe there will be a big fight or not, he doesn't know, but you know, you have so much time after you push the wave. So you see that Wunder right now has to deal with it, and that's just what's called priority. Fast forward again, they are waiting for the dragon to spawn so they can maybe contest. Wunder knows it and it seems that G2 wants to contest it, so there potentially a fight is going on. Beautiful hook onto Mata, a stopwatch, 3-man flash taunt. Beautiful Zonias from Can, so there's no execute from Pyke, no snowball effect, but Syndra's damage just too much right now. The entire SKT squad gets demolished. And what do you expect, right? G2 have all their towers up besides the top lane tower, while SKT have all the outer towers down and even the tier 2 tower demolished. So that's a huge gold lead for G2, I think 5 to 10,000 even, and some dragons. So this will be an infernal dragon up for SKT and also advantageous state of the minion waves. So big win for G2, but remember they might need a little more. So Faker actually TPs in, steals the dragon, a beautiful play from him. And they also get the kill onto the Rek'Sai. TP is coming in from Lissandra, but not very effective since the entire team is on the back foot and trying to run away. So good play from Faker. Finally we got something going on. But now he has to go back to the minion waves to pick them up. I expect him to go into top lane after he pushes this one out. Well, actually, considering there's not that big threat from the enemy team to do Baron, he doesn't really need to be that close. But I still think Can is the one that should be here, unless he doesn't. Okay, he doesn't have TP, so it literally doesn't matter. You see that the whole SKT squad is already stacking up on a lot of MR. Face check from Meta. There is a fight coming on. But right now, at this point, it's quite even despite the goal difference that is in this game. Wunder doesn't get his ulti down, still gets a pretty good execute, and you see Teddy just shredding through everyone because he has the Wit's End, he has the Braum, a lot of sustained damage, so it's very, and the stopwatch too, so it's very hard for G2 to actually kill him, and it's only going to get worse and worse. So if you think about it, SKT outscale, they got the Infernal Dragon, and they are not doing that bad considering how much gold they have lost in the game or how behind they were compared to G2. So another team fight win, and I'd say 1 or 2 more team fight wins and the game is just over, because G2 are just going to crumble under the pressure of a Baron buff, Varus and Braum. It's just so hard to approach, you know. Braum can block everything. Rek'Sai is not very strong in the fights at this moment unless he has flash. So Faker is going mid lane now. He just goes mid lane to make sure that his entire team can get vision before he moves into the top lane. Still actually decides to stay mid lane, so maybe they're afraid of a collapse or a fight going on. Remember, G2 have a very fast collapse composition with Lissandra, Syndra, a lot of CC and catch potential. So Faker right now is fogging, waiting for the minion wave to come to him, so it's safe for him to farm. SKT know that eventually this game becomes somewhat unwinnable for G2. Teddy just needs a few more items, maybe 1 to 2 items, then they just need to brute force through one lane and there's nothing G2 can do. Caps playing with fire here, he was just baiting there for the Pyke ultimate, gets ulted, but no big thing is happening. So that just happened, so G2 can get the tower for themselves, and now because of no cooldowns they are likely to disengage. So again, I assume that Faker will just go to base, pick up farm. Now the next dragon is in Ocean, so I doubt that any team really cares about Ocean at this point. So Faker instead will just push this out, And because he is not very safe to overextend into fog of war, since he doesn't see anyone and his team is losing, he has to play very safe, defensive, and can't push the wave as much as he would like to. So what do you do in this situation? Just group up together, strength in numbers, and try to catch out the enemy team when they are split pushing or something like that. So Dragon goes down, Faker uses the ulti to knock Galio, but that's pretty much all cooldowns for the support. Caps goes down immediately. You see how much damage Teddy is doing right now. And yeah, still a lot of damage is going on. Teddy gets a pretty okay snare on Wunder, but after all, it's Spike, so it's pretty hard to catch. And remember, G2 were so ahead in gold, but they are losing all the recent team fights. Wunder went for a hero play there, doesn't work out this time, and lose. So right now the game is very much in SKT's favor. It's on them to lose, so they try to do this Baron, but remember, Lissandra has TP in about 5 seconds. So let's see what's going to happen here. They don't really have a tank, but they do have damage. So Can TPs, and Caps is playing really slow. He knows that the Baron is not low enough yet, and now they just go together into the AoE. Teddy does a stopwatch there, but still gets chained by the CC and damage from Caps and Wunder, I believe, gets taken down by the super fat Pike. 11 kills, so that's crazy. Just 190 farm, but this game is just over. So this was SKT's win after a really long fight, but they threw it at the Baron. So I hope that you really enjoyed this series. I will keep uploading all the VODs of mid laners and then even other roles from MSI. Please subscribe, and if you have any problems, comment below. Check out my website for coaching, and see you again next time.